right, I want to welcome everyone to the family tree, and it is a pleasure. And we just want to say, sit back, relax, get your pens and pads. We're gonna talk about some good stuff today. What's going on in the world? It's good to know when we're moving forward in the world, going backwards. It seems like sometimes, y'all. So I want to welcome you all that are coming in. I'm going to take myself off of the chair here.
There we go. Hey. What's up, everybody? How you doing? All right. Can you guys hear me all right tonight? Okay. Very good. Very good.
Good.
Very good.
All right, family. We want to welcome you, and I hope everyone is doing well and feeling well, and I hope you had a good day. You know, somebody just take a good stretch, y'all. Just take a good stretch. Everybody just take a good stretch. Go ahead, stretch up to the ceiling. Try to touch the ceiling. Go ahead. Stretch it out.
Just unhook my shoulders. It just fell right off.
And breathe.
Woosah.
And just breathe and exhale. Right. Breathe in.
Yes, indeed.
Blow it out. Good. Yes, all right, we're going to get started in a few. I want to say welcome again, and let's give a shout out to our hostess with the mostest. Yeah! That's Bill 1L Morgan. Let's give him a hand, y'all.
Yeah. That's what's up.
All right, and thank you, Big B.
Yeah, man. Always.
So, Big B, how you feeling today? Everything all
right,
right?
Man. Great day today. A lot of sunshine, and not a whole lot of humidity, so I'm in good shape.
That's right. So we're going to say what's going on in the world today, Big B. Start us off, man. Tell us, the ground rules about the family tree and also what's going on in the world in the news.
Well, listen, the first ground rule is that you invite somebody every week. I don't care how many thousands it is. Just bring on in, because this is the place to be to get all the information that we need and to get our heads together, because with all this conflicting information that's going on around the world right now, it makes it so very, very hard for us to have good, healthy minds and bodies and things like that. Remember Dr. Paul always talks about healthy mind, body, and spirit. And if we don't get together today on the tree to make sure that happens, we end up at a mell of a hess, y'all. Okay, here are the numbers for tonight, guys, coming from our very, very favorite website, and that is the NCOV2019.live. That's NCOV2019.live. Yeah, our quick facts as of about 7 minutes ago. Total from cases around the world, 200 million. Hey, guys, we crossed the 200 million mark. 895,527. Total critical cases, 93,462. Total deceased, 4,668,000. Did I say 4,638? 4,268,351. Okay. Total active cases, 21,235,262. Give me my drum roll, Dr. Paul. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, I love it. I love it. Total recovered, guys. Hey, total recovered 179,161,935.
Woo!
Hey, listen, there's our mental health moment, guys. Let's keep us in good shape. Hey, we don't have the twisties, but I'm gonna tell you something. That's what's up. That keeps us in good shape. Keeps us in good shape.
I like what you said there. We don't have the twisties. That's the new word now.
Yes, sir. Yep. And listen, by the way, guys, I want you to know we've been praying for Simone, because you know what? There's a whole lot of mess out here in this world right now, and there's so many things that are happening to us to get us all off track. And I'm grateful that Simone took the time to take a break and take care of her health, because it's important for us right now. You know, those athletes that are on that scale, there's so much drama going on in their lives with things and people around them, pulling them from one place to the other. I'm glad she finally saw it and took the time to take care of herself. That's what's important.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't take care of our family, and the family begins with me. I can't help you if I'm not healthy.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it's all about. So I'm grateful for that. I'm going to put the numbers in the chat so you have them, and we'll go on from there. So whenever you're ready, Dr. Wall, it's time to roll, buddy.
All right. Word to the wise is sufficient. Thank you, Big B. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir, as always.
And yes, you're absolutely right. And we can talk about that conversation and many things, anything that's on your mind and your heart. This is the time to bring it to the family. We call it the family tree because the family tree, we believe, is where when you have problems, you bring it to the tree. You know, the Social Security and only real Social Security you have is your family. It's not a check, not Social Security check, no Social Security. Remember, we say it slow. Social Security. You got it? Right. That means your family is your security. So whenever you have a problem, you want to take it to the tree. And that's what we're going to do today. We're doing it old school style. This is ancient style. We always gather around the tree and we talk about the problems of the world, whatever's going on with you. If not with the family, then who? You know, now, you know, so many times, I mean, I got word from some doctor friends of mine. They said, you know what, we're getting problems on our side, on the allopathic side. I said, well, what's going on? They said, well, they're pressing us to spend less time with the patient. I said, wow, can you spend any less time? They said, yeah, because they're saying now if you spend more than 6 minutes with a patient is a problem. I said, what? 6 minutes? I can't even take blood pressure in 6 minutes. You know, so what does it mean that, you know, the time that you spend with your family is the most precious time? Sometimes you got to open up and listen to what's going on. You got to listen to people. You can't service people if you don't listen. So if you are listening and you are on the phone, if you have a way of just letting us know that you're on the phone, we'll try to get you in for a question. But those that are viewing, you can go right down to your reactions bar right at the lower right section of your table right there. And you can click in, put your hands up so we know where you are.
Just like that. Yep. See that?
Like Big B's doing over there. Put your hand up and we'll try to get you. You ask the question. And if we don't know, we'll try to find out for you.
Certainly will.
And also, if you have a question, you might want to just not get on screen, but maybe you want to put it in the chat. You can always put it in the chat. And Big B and when Prophetess come in, Fingers will have her type in whatever it is. So we'll get them all in. All right, we'll get all your questions in. All right, so Big B, you want to start us off? Anyone on the chat that has a question?
You know what? As a matter of fact, there's one right now. The vaccination liberation. Okay, someone was unable to find the form, right? And I just put a note in there. Someone cannot. If you go to vaclib.org and you want to get the form to declare your position, just send me an email to mecavideo@gmail.com. That's mecavideo MECAVIDEO@gmail.com, and ask me to send you the form because I already have it, and I'll put it in the email to you. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. When you're looking at the VACLIB website, that's the vaccination liberation site. That's the site that we use, and you want to write that down. VAC, V as in Victor, ACL as in Larry, IB.org. That's a website that's going to give you the updates on all of the talking points and things that you may need to view if you have questions about vaccines of any and all kind. So that's where you would go, and it would give you a breakdown of each and every one of them, what's in them, what they're saying, what they're not saying. It's a great comparative website that you can get the real good information. And on that site, if you go to the website, you can go directly to the front page. And when you go to the front page, it's going to have a section right in the front. Let me see if I can pull up real quick. It says legal help. Yes, legal help. That's where you would go. It says legal help right in the front page. And on the legal help, it's like a drop down. And the drop down is going to say from there, exemption page. Got it? Exemption page. When you go to the exemption page, it goes by state. Each state is governed differently, and accordingly, you're going to see different things and mandates roll out per state. But this website is a good resource for getting the updates on what's happening in that particular state. Got it?
Right.
So utilize that resource, family. Share it with your family. And also, hopefully, it can give you what you need. And yes, they do have sample exemption for schools, for work, also for military. And they got a lot of different ones. So I know they're putting down new things on the military, but, you know, there's ways that you can stand for yourself if you choose to not have that vaccination. Okay.
Okay.
All right,
I
Big
got
B.
one question. Someone's been trying to get this question through now for a month. They say they've been trying to ask this. What is the condensation I guess in crystal geyser when one boils it?
Right, they're talking about there's like a film that comes up. That's actually, we've answered that several times. That's actually minerals. That's the minerals in the water. That's
Okay.
exactly what it is. A film. Whenever you hit heat, remember heat dissipates minerals, right? So the minerals are going to come, and sometimes it creates a film like in the pot. People will think, well, what is that? What is that? That's actually minerals. You're looking at the minerals. That's why the pH is so high in the crystal geyser. It's at a 8.5 on the pH. So that's minerals. Yep.
So what causes nosebleeds?
Nosebleeds have everything to do with there's very small cranial in the membranes. There's very small, veins in that area. Usually it starts to happen. I mean, it can be very much a lot of different things going on, but some of the common problems are dry air in the home. Dry air. So what happens is that the air usually is so dry that actually gets very dry in that nose, in that area of the membranes, and then they break, and then you get the blood. So a lot of children, usually around the times of the winter times, tend to get a lot of nosebleeds, and that's because when you turn the heat on, you're going to get a dry air. So that's where we have both humidifiers and dehumidifiers based on whatever your home is experiencing. Some people have too much humidity. Got it? So we got to get a dehumidifier. Some people don't have enough, so then we got to add humidifier. So that's where you do. Some people even have them built into their heating systems.
Yes.
That's one that some people may have, but that deals with dry air. We use the castor oil, not to diagnose, treat, kill, prevent disease, just food for the soul. We use castor oil. And castor oil with a Q-tip is what we use, and it gives moisture back to the mucous membranes that are in that area. So you would take it and just with a small Q-tip go up in those areas and give it the moisture that it needs to keep it lubricated. Usually that's very dry air. So I would say definitely have them check their air, but that comes from dry air. Yeah, dry air.
Okay, so next one. If a person has high liver enzymes or fatty liver, would it be better to take black seed bitters or dandelion as a blood cleanser?
Well, they're both good. Those are both detoxers of the liver when there's congestion issues. We test the liver when we do what's called a 10SG, which is a specific gravity test, which we look through the urine. And from the urine, we can see if there's any congestion. From the congestion, the liver gets clouded and very not able to process because I'm going to tell you what the big one is, y'all family. It's definitely the oils. You got to watch the oils. What gunks up the liver, just like a car when you got bad motor oil. When you haven't changed motor oil in a long time and it gets gunky. You know what I'm talking about.
I certainly do.
They call it viscosity.
Yes.
So look at it as you're having viscosity in your liver, and it's backing up, and it can't process properly. So guess what? You now start to have cholesterol issues. High level, and low density, and high density, and then those liver cleanses like the dandelion root. Those are good. Dandelion is good. Also, that's good for the kidneys because it actually helps with the process of removing water off the legs. Puts potassium back in the body when you're lacking potassium. Stops you from having cramps. What was the other one? The black seed? Was it the black seed oil?
Black seed bitters, yes.
Black seed bitters. Was that the oil or the tonic?
Didn't say.
Okay, so the black seed also. The tonic. Yes. Well, the tonic is very good. The tonic is more, I always say recommend the black seed tonic versus the black seed oil. Some people have a problem processing a lot of oil. That's why I say, go with the black seed tonic. See, the tonic is going to have not only the black seed bitters, but it's going to have a combination of multi things, land and sea. So those are the traditional herbs that we use. So I would use both. You can also use burdock root. Any of those blood cleansers, the ones that of the 80 that I gave you all, those are all blood cleansers. You can always just remember, pick one. So I would refer them back to also the list that I published a couple of weeks ago,
Right.
which is the 75 plus blood cleansers.
Yes, there's a whole lot. Okay, real quick now, two from Barbara. Can aloe vera gel cause cramps and muscle weakness if taken daily? And for getting a mammogram, what should one do before getting a mammogram? What should one do?
First one, aloe vera gel. I don't know how that would cause a lot of. And she said cramping.
Cramps and muscle weakness.
No, not with aloe vera gel. Aloe vera gel is that's derma. That deals with derma. Usually, it's for skin. So if you're taking it internally, is she putting it in topical, or did she mention it topical?
It doesn't say.
Okay. Usually, aloe vera gel can be taken both internally and externally. This is more of a protection for the skin. And remember, skin on the outside, skin on the inside. So that's why it's good. It grows in deserts, so that means it can take a lot of heat. And it's good for moisturizing. So that's why it has the ability to regenerate skin. So that's why when you take it internally, you would take it like an aloe vera, like 2 or 3 tablespoons of the gel, not the juice, the gel. That can actually lubricate the entire intestine. So it's really, I don't see, it sounds like something else is going on there when you talk about pain. So I would probe more with the questioning with that one. What was the other question again?
I was talking about if, let me see, before you are getting a mammogram, what should you do?
Oh, yeah, mammograms. See, mammograms are, of course, number one, the history of the mammograms is that they were giving them every year. And a lot of women, you were told to take them every year. And then probably about within the last 10 years, they started seeing the numbers rise with the spike with cancer. And that's because radiation, you're actually shooting radiation into, the body. So therefore, when the numbers started rising, they sort of pulled back and said, wait a minute, we better not do this every year. We may want to do it just every other year. So then they made the recommendations. They dropped the recommendations to every other year. But then when they started every other year, still the numbers were escalating. They said, well, wait a minute. Maybe we need to just pull back and maybe as needed recommendation. If you see something or there's reason why we may want to go into there that, there's a suspected problem, then we'll go. Any radiation you got to be careful with because your body absorbs that radiation light and it holds on, especially melanated people. I'm going to tell you, melanin holds on to radiation and light. So it's harder for us to detox that. That's just a fact. I'm just going to be real with y'all. So it's, the great melanin, Book of Melanin talks about how melanated people tend to hold on to more radiation. So that's a verifiable fact. So that's why we got to watch when you're preparing for it. If you know you got to take it, we use sea vegetables. Got it? Sea vegetables. Pre and post. So that would be things like kelp, chlorella, spirulina, bladderwrack, nori. Those are all the ones that actually help to keep and protect the body from radioactive isotopes and all kinds of pollutants in the body. So we would use some form of a, sort of like a little detox pre and post.
And Dr. Moore, that's a really good question because I just happened to see something on the news a few moments ago before it came in, where they now come up with this machine that will do a complete 3D rendering. It's kind of like a scan for skin cancer, where they once they put you in this thing and run you through front and back, then they'll pull it up in front of you and they can actually see you front and back. So if you've got moles on your back, they can take pictures of each one now and sort of do a pre-screen for skin cancer. So this question is a good one in case someone has to deal with that.
Yeah, it's a lot of good technology they're coming out with, but we remember, family, the more radiated light that you deal with, the more, only if you need it, if you suspect there's a problem there, and then when you even if at the worst scenario, you know you got a detox. That's going back to the lymphatic system. We've talked about the lymphatic detox. We've shown you how you can also do the lymphatic massage. Every night, I would suggest everybody needs to do a lymphatic massage before you go to bed. And when you wake up, you know, that's part of something that you can do to just be preventative, you know, and just that little bit of activity can save your life. It's amazing. But, you know, so much gets blocked up in our systems. You know, there's a lot of clotting going on, y'all. A lot of clotting. Wow. I said a long time ago, before COVID came here, Big B, you remember we had the shows, and I said, you know, we're going to have a problem.
Oh, yeah.
When it was hitting the rest of the world, and it was not quite here, and we had not really experienced an and we were still at what was considered an epidemic. I mean, it was just in that area. It wasn't a pandemic where it was here yet. I said, we're going to have a problem. And why are we going to have a problem? Because we are eating terrible when it comes to exposure to GMOs, chemicals, pesticides. There's sort of like an open door with the United States, and we have no mandatory labeling laws. I said at least Europe has mandatory labeling laws with their food. You know what they're getting. You know, if you get it, it's gonna say it on the label, but not here. And I said we're gonna have a problem, because we are already in a state of morbidity where a lot of people are already very sick. They're walking around time bombs. Yes. And that's exactly what, we've experienced. We know already chronic disease, hypertension, diabetes, cancer, dialysis issues. We already have a long list of chronic conditions that people are already fighting, and it goes back to your food choices. It's what you're eating. You can't just go there and just dump everything in your cart, y'all. Just keep it on moving. No, you're just dumping everything in your cart and just keep it moving. Grabbing, seafood diet, seafood, you eat it. You just grabbing everything. You can't do it no more. You got to have a level of toxicity. Got it?
Yep. Okay, bleeding gums. How do you take care of them?
Bleeding gums. Usually bleeding gums goes back to deficiencies with vitamin A, the basics of the vitamins, when you're dealing with bleeding gums. I would say that goes back to vitamin E, okay? Vitamin E deficiencies, also vitamin A deficiencies, yep. You got to, when you're bleeding gums, my question would be back to them, are you flossing? Are you trying to do something like that? Are you disrupting? Are you brushing too hard? You got to be careful, okay?
Okay. All right. What supplement is good for correcting the thyroid, and also the one behind that, any teas or herbs recommended for anxiety? There are two questions there.
Well, remember, thyroid is weight, temperature, and pressure. Ladies, weight, temperature, and pressure imbalances. Got it? That's the thyroid. Got it? That's your voltage regulator. That's like your gear shift in your car. So when that is the voltage regulator for the endocrine system is like that's your, what we call serpentine fire, or kundalini, as they used to say in the ancient times, or, these are the things that keeps the energy flowing. This is how your body feeds itself. But when you start to get issues with imbalance with the thyroid, a lot of times they'll blame it all on the thyroid, when really it's something triggering the thyroid, and that usually is the adrenal glands, and that usually is stress, anxiety. Yep, that's exactly what it is. So those little cones that sit on the top of your kidneys, you got these little cones that sit on top of your kidneys, and those are called the adrenals, and those adrenals fire off. But they fire off into a state of what's called fight or flight. And that fight or flight keeps you in that state all the time. So that means you got to watch your food choices. You got to watch the coffee, watch the foods that are refined sugar, refined salt, refined oils. All those things are going to keep you in a state of fight or flight. That means you're ready to fight somebody or run, Big B.
I know that's right. That's exactly right.
You're ready to fight or run. And you can't stay in that state all the time. And then people are in that state all the time. Throws off the thyroid. Then the swelling happens around the neck area, ladies and men, and you can also, it can build to the point where it causes a goiter, or there's another situation where it gets more intense. It's called Hashimoto's, so
okay.
There's a lot of problems going on with that, but we use sea vegetables. Got it? Sea vegetables. Specifically, they've identified iodine as one of the things that actually is one that the thyroid is looking for. But I'm going to take it another step. I think it's more dynamics of minerals that you need that are coming from trace minerals out of the ocean. So I would say to go after that, don't just take the iodine drops. You would need more like, a dynamic of sea vegetables. Got it? So you would take, let me tell you, don't sleep on that chlorella. Don't sleep on the chlorella. The chlorella tends to be one of the most powerful of all of the sea vegetables. And the kelp. I would do chlorella, kelp. Somewhere around there. Okay.
All right.
Anxiety. If you're doing anxiety, that will help with anxiety, but there's a formula we call Mind Care. There's one called Mind Care. It's a formula already put together by a company called Himalaya. Okay, Himalayan. It's a company, and it's called Mind Care. It's a combination of herbs already put together, and they're used with the 3 primary herbs in this is ashwagandha, bacopa, and gotu kola. Those are your 3 right there. Gotu kola. Now we've spoken about all 3 of those at some time. Gotu kola is a very powerful herb. That's an ancient herb right there. Gotu kola, Gotu kola, kola, O-L-A, right? Kola. So that is used even in ancient times. They used to use that for stimulating the melanin in the system, also the pineal gland, dealing with that factor that happens right in your brain, the pineal, the pituitary, the hypothalamus, keeps that thing in balance. So that brings down the stress. So we can help you with the stress factors and the things that are dealing with, the things that are maybe out of balance nutritionally. But we cannot deal and help you with the things that deal with rituals and ceremonies. Got it? Rituals and ceremonies and stress and anger and all of that. So you got to get control of those emotions. Got it? When you come into anxiety, it's the ability to, remember on this side, we look at all spirit, mind, and body. If you got anxiety, that's the desire to want to control things. Got it? You can't control things. So you got to sort of, I tend to tell people if you have anxiety, number one, default that I always go to, if I felt any anxiousness, I start retreating to be now thankful. Got it?
Yes.
Start to now count your blessings.
Yes.
Start to look around and say, you know what? Let me start counting my blessings.
I know that's right.
I'm feeling a little bit anxious right now, but you know what? Let me thank God for where I am right now.
Hey, one thing I find doing that early in the morning sets one's day. So no matter what anybody does, they can't bring you down to their level.
Yes, I'm telling you, man. The first fruits. The Bible speaks about first fruits. First fruits in the morning means you give God the praise in the morning.
Yes.
Give thanks for the breath that you breathe.
Yes,
the fact that you woke up this morning. Woo, sound like I'm preaching over here.
Go ahead now.
Hallelujah. Well.
Look out now. The pew is coming together now.
We got to praise him in the house.
Paul, here come the pew. Here come the pew.
Yo, let me tell you, you know what? I always tell folks, you know what? It's long past the times when you need somebody else to encourage you. You got to reach down and encourage yourself. You got it?
I know that.
You got to know when some days, you ain't going to get it. So you got to pack your own amen some mornings.
Man.
You say, you know what? I don't care what y'all say. Hallelujah. I'll see y'all later.
Well, I know that's right. Man, I do that. I have to do that every day. Because you
Hey,
know me, I'm trying on my Facebook page. I'm always trying to do something to encourage people every day because
that's right.
that's a ministry, man. To make sure that everybody
Hey,
understands that. You know what? You and
yes.
I listen, God. Do you realize that when you are awake in the morning, do you realize that's telling you that Dad trusts you to do what He allowed you to wake up to do? You know how
Mm-hmm.
deep that is.
That's
You
right.
can't
That's
afford
right.
to be foolishness. You better stop. Here we go now. You're gonna have me running around the room here in a half a second. We have been gifted with so much. Life is just the beginning of it. You know,
Hey, you know,
you know,
we are
it's just the
so.
beginning of this whole thing.
If you just saw how incredible the body does when it's
Yes,
fighting things like bacteria,
when it's upset,
fungus,
man.
parasites. I mean, it's fighting for you. It's
Yes.
fighting for you all the time. If you just saw the war that is going on inside of you, and guess what? It has been programmed by the Most High God to fight
Mm-hmm.
on your behalf,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even understand what's going on
That's
inside of you.
exactly right, my friend.
So that's where you just have to just feed the body what it does, and let the body correct itself. And that's
That's
why we
exactly right.
say treat your body right, treat yourself right. Take time off when you need time off, rest when you need to rest, but also be encouraged when you need to be encouraged, and also encourage somebody else sometime.
Yes,
It
yes,
really,
yes.
it really makes a difference.
Indeed. Okay, so for a baby, what's good to for a baby that has eczema, Doctor Bell? What can you use?
Watch the sugar off. You gotta watch the sugar intake. Number one, babies, we tend to, it depends on how, what the age of. Did they say what the age of the child? Did they say age
No, there was no age.
the
Just
baby?
so the baby, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So when topical, watch children, watch their clothes. Also, when you washing the clothes, watch the clothes and the detergents, because sometimes the detergents can cause breakouts in the skin. Children, of course, babies have very sensitive skin, but also watch the sugar. I gotta really stress that. And a lot of the parents, we reward our children with sugar. Don't reward children with sugar. That's the worst thing you can do. You're setting them up for defeat, because now they're being programmed to that thing that's not really sugar. It's actually a chemical. So when they don't get that chemical thing, they think that's not sweet enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to tie that to everything. And then spiritually, they tie that to rewards. Like when I taste that, I hear reward. I feel reward. So when they have problems in their life that knock them down, they need to reward themselves. They're going to go to sugar.
Lollipop.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I heard that in the lollipop.
It becomes a part of our language too.
Yes,
It's a nurturing. I always use the example like, come here and give me some sugar. When somebody ready to kiss you, honey, I'm home.
Oh no.
We are always using, sugar as a term of endearment. So don't reward yourself with sugar. Try to do something else. All right. So if I were to ask, I would ask more questions about the baby. But I would say coconut oil off the top,
Mm-hmm.
along with aloe vera gel. And I always, with the babies, put in their lavender oil. That soothes. Lavender always soothes. They should always have a little lavender oil. Okay, lavender oil is very good for the skin, and also it soothes, it cools. So that's also when we talk about those who have had, specifically, I'm thinking about right now keloids. If you have keloids of some sort, and it's like a raised keloid. You got to lower that keloid. You got to cool it down, stop it from rooting. It does what's called rooting. And that means when it roots, it gets real painful. That's for those who don't know what a keloid is. It's like if you got a cut.
Yes.
Overgrowth. It's actually an overgrowth of skin. That means it grows really fast. That's the melanin, y'all. Because it don't happen to nobody but us. It happens but people of color. So keloids get real thick. And you use something like a tea tree and a lavender, and it brings it down, lowers it down. It cools it, but also lowers it down. So it gets real flat.
Okay. All right. Can vertigo be cured?
Well, it depends what's causing the vertigo.
Okay.
Vertigo can be a lot of things going on with vertigo. I'm actually looking into that right now very heavily because vertigo has everything to do with spinal misalignments. Okay. Number one, I always say check to make sure that you're structurally sound. A large amount of that is structurally dealing basically pinched nerves, in the cervical. It can also stem from things of an ear infection. Some people will have vertigo and also having like tinnitus or pulsating tinnitus is what it's called. So some of these things go back to inner ear infections. Okay, so usually we try to eliminate those. I would try to do structurally first. Make sure you have a good chiropractor to see if you're a misalignment in the cervical, because that's really where a lot of it happens, y'all. I mean, I went to my chiropractor, Big B. I'm gonna share this with y'all. I went to my chiropractor, right? And he's a real cool guy. I just met him and he's real good. Actually, Dr. Lenny is out of sight, man. If y'all are listening, Sister Cynthia actually sent me over and said, you got to check this guy out. So he came over to me and took assessment with me, and then I went over to him. And man, he just blew my mind. He took he took my X-rays, and he noticed. He said, "You kind of leaning, Doc." He said, "You kind of leaning," and I said, "What do you mean I'm leaning?" He says, "You kind of leaning, like your head is like kind of leaning to the side." I said, "You mean my head ain't on straight?"
Wow.
I with my grandma always said, "Little Paul, your head ain't on straight."
We always knew there was something wrong with you anyway, Dr. Paul.
Now I know she was talking about.
Tell the truth.
So I said, "Doc, come on, man." He says, "Nah, man." He says, especially if you are someone that is a side sleeper, which I am. This is my left side is my side sleep. That's my, don't mess with me side. I'm over here like that. Don't mess with me. And that's over the years. That's the side that takes the punishment, and then it starts to shift you a little bit. Your bones shift a little bit. And that's where I'm shifted. So now you got to work a program where you got to shift you back over, So a lot of that happens with the way we're sleeping. So when people start getting vertigo issues, it could be very much the way you're sleeping and the way the height of your pillow. Or the pillow's slinking. You got a flat pillow. Some people's pillows are too flat. Some of them are too high. Sometimes your bed's got that loop to it. See bed go like this, got that little dip in there.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of things that it could be, but you really have to look at your structural first. That's where I say look at structure first. Then you can look at your food choices and say, well, what am I eating? And then possibly this could be an infection. Okay. So infections in the inner ear, and you can get, here it is, write this down, y'all. You can get an infection in the nerves. Yes, you can get a virus in your nerves. That's very, absolutely.
Okay, so how does that come about, Dr. Ward? Does that have anything to do with what we're putting in us, or is it just?
Sure, it can be from it can be from getting water in your ear, getting trapped in your ear. Okay. It could be from food choices. It could be you sticking your dirty finger in your ear. Ooh. It's a lot of ways this thing can happen. Yes, absolutely. There's a ear wash that I would also recommend. It's called Mr. Neil. Mr. Neil, MRNEIL. It's a ear wash that you can get this anywhere. You can get this in any drugstore, anywhere. You can get this everywhere. I think they got it in Target, they got it in Walmart. And it's a professional air. It's actually water that you can actually flush it out. So basically, most of the ear wash, you can actually, it takes about 3% peroxide, put it right in the ear as a gel, and they give you the earplugs, put it in there for about 10 minutes, and you'll hear it popping. That's actually, dealing with, of course, all of the, if there's any wax buildup, but also bacteria or anything, that peroxide will get with it. And then you come in with this little can of, it's like an air and water, flushes it right out. Okay. So I would do something like that. That can help. All
Okay.
right.
Paul,
All
can you
right.
give that name again, please?
It's called Mr. Neil. Mr. Neil. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Ear wash. And Big B, I don't know if you can grab that real quick.
I'll look for it. In the meantime, what about one's thyroid if they've been removed? How does was it? What can we do about that too? So something to suggest to sort of help the body out there.
Well, yeah. If you're dealing with you're cleaning. Let me just grab this real quick. I'm just going to grab this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dealing with, it's called Neilmed. 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 I find that to be very effective. Neilmed. And they sell it in all the stores. But there's one that is called Neilmed Clear Canal Earwax Removal Complete Kit. And you can buy that right at Walmart. You can go anywhere and get that. Okay? All right, family. And what was the question again, Big B?
We're talking about thyroids, okay?
Right.
So if someone's had that thyroid removed, or if your thyroid just been acting, what can one do to keep themselves in good shape?
Well, remember, thyroid is what? Weight, temperature, pressure. So you have to have things that deal with balancing the endocrine system. So, when it's removed, usually if it's the entire thyroid, that means also like the butterfly, that's the thyroid. You also have the parathyroid, which is actually the calcium regulators. So there's going to be issues with not only weight, temperature, and pressure, but also calcium, soft bones, things like that. Hair, spotty, thinning hair, thinning nails, and even patchiness in hair falling out. So you have to get back into all of those herbs that actually balance the endocrine system. What are those? Things like blessed thistle, things like red raspberry, things like black cohosh, things like Don Quay, things like that's also angelica root.
Mm-hmm.
There's a milk thistle. There's queen. Let me see. No, that's pretty much it right there. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a few other ones, but we would have to recommend those based on assessment before we go into any further.
Okay.
But those are the things that you would use. The woman's herbs, as we call them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. All right. The
I'm
next one.
sorry, Bill, you forgot my question.
Which one was that?
It was for ADH. It was
yes, that was right. Listen, that was right on my next one. See there, girl, you're getting ahead of me. Get out of my business over here.
Sorry.
That's all right. Listen, since you're there, go right ahead and ask it. Since you're there.
Oh, okay. Hi, Dr. Paul. I just wanted to know. I wanted to know what herbs can be taken for somebody with ADHD to calm them down, and also for concentration, because they don't want to take They don't want to take any medication.
Okay, is this child ADHD or adult?
He's now 18. He was doing this for a long time though.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. You got to I'm seeing a lot of this. I'm seeing a lot of this with the young folks. I'm going to say this, and that's only because this is what I'm seeing. I would first, number one, you got to make sure that, you got to go back to food choices. Number one, remember, no refined sugar, refined salt, refined oils. You got to get them off the sugar. A lot of what they're telling us as ADHD really it's not really a disease. It's an imbalance, right? And it's the imbalance of the nervous system that's tearing down because of food choices. That's where I believe. When they had the German scientist that actually they cornered, and he was about 90 years old. When they cornered him, they said, Doctor, I think his name was Dr. Enderlin. Said, Dr. Enderlin, we want to thank you for your contribution to ADHD and all that you've done. You know what he said? He said, no, don't put that on me. And he said, well, what do you mean? He says, y'all came up with that. And that y'all put a drug to what I did my research to, but that's not what I was saying. I was just simply saying that these people weren't paying attention to what I was trying to tell them, so they had an attention deficit. That was it. That was it.
And that
now
caught
they
on.
tied that to children and they tied a drug to it. Now you can start to move it as a drug and say, point to this study. This is why you need this drug. But he said that very openly before he died, and he was 90 years old. So, you know, he can say anything he want to do. So he told him right then, it wasn't me. So I'm saying to you, it's not more of a deficiency as opposed to what the child is eating. Refined sugar, mostly it's the sugar. I'm going to tell you, it's mostly the sugar. It causes the erratic system. Get them off of the oils like the Popeyes, and I know I'm stepping on somebody Popeyes right now.
Step on,
and
step
the Chick-fil-A's, and oh man, you got to remember what they're cooking that stuff in. They're cooking the stuff in these oils and things, and these oils are exciting the system, and a lot of that chicken has a lot of hormones in it. Got it? A lot of hormones that they're artificial hormones that accelerate, you know, the endocrine system. So now they start to tear down. So now when you see boys and girls getting real tall and they, you know, they seem to get beards and the girls get, you know, developed all around. You see this stuff like, what is going on? And they say, boy, you really growing up fast. No, they're not growing up fast. They're tearing down fast. They're getting older. You got it? That's the thing.
And you know, Dr. I'm glad you say that because you know, being an educator in school, you know, the children, especially us. How many of our children end up in the principal's office because the teacher can't handle them because they're what? They're active, they're overly active, they're overly active. Going back to what you just said about food choices, some of our children don't get proper foods, so when they go to school, they're all over the place. They're giving sugar, and they're getting this in the morning. So when they get to school, you can't quiet them down.
Yeah, Dr. Blackwell. I mean, there's a lot of research on Dr. Blackwell. He actually came out and showed that Skittles, Skittles, Doritos, and I think the other one was Mountain Dew.
Yes.
When you put them together, it can literally drive you mad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
It creates a chemical reaction in the nervous system that tears you down. And that usually is what's happening. Now, take all of that with the food choices, dehydration, GMOs, all that stuff that we're feeding the children, and now tie on top of that, you know, the games, you know, the video games. You're exposed to radiation, the electromagnetic fields, things like that also now cause more, you know, erraticness. So that means that you can't sit still. It's almost like they're about to explode. That's what it feels like. And that's what a lot of the children that coming through, you know, their parents say, my son or my daughter is just like about to explode. Number one, I would try to, if they are, I don't know if your young one is doing this, but around that age, about 18, they're all on the video games. You got to pull them off them games.
Yes.
Okay. If that's what it is.
Okay.
See, what happens is they have this way of video games have the ability to actually cause a anxiety because it releases almost like a strobe light. It can even cause seizures. And even where there's a disclaimer with some of the games, it'll tell you it may cause seizures, so be aware of these games. Subliminal thinking and subliminal gaming and programming goes way back, y'all. Goes way back. They were studying subliminal research back in the 40s, the late 40s, 47, 50s, somewhere around there. And they were actually doing things when they were testing this stuff, and they were putting it in movies.
Yes,
and
yes.
In the movies, and they would sit everybody in the movie theater, and then they would subliminally, see, you can't see it physically, but your brain catches everything. So they would be sitting there, and at a fraction of a second, which you can't physically see, but your brain catches it, they would flash milk. they would say popcorn.
Yes, amen. Yes, yes.
And next thing, they were doing this as an experiment, and they said when they went outside to the stand outside the movie theater, lines were packed because it was said drink milk, go get some popcorn. It would give them a command.
Yes.
And that's exactly what they were doing.
You know, for those of us who are old enough to remember movies, drive-in movies, that's how they drove the food to people during the breaks. Okay, because of that flash of either a hot dog or Coke.
Add a hot dog, add a Coke. And it got so to the point where subliminal messaging can be in a lot of these games, y'all.
Absolutely. You know what people don't realize?
This is a whole nother technology. So I'm seeing a lot of the anxiety with the young folks happens because this quick flash is sending off impulses and what's called synapses in the brains, which means they're firing off. So, and that keeps going on there. It's almost like you're addicted to the synapsing action. Like a Call of Duty. Anybody know what Call of Duty is?
Yeah.
Guys, know
ask your children, they know.
It's like they were actually saying that, when they hooked the brain of the person up to a game compared to live action, they couldn't tell the difference. The person was actually they thought they were in the battle. So what does that mean? You got to watch these games. Try to pull them off of there, sort of detox them with the foods, and make sure they're getting enough water. That's really where they are. They're really dehydrated.
What are these Oculus now that they're coming out with, so you can put them on your head, on your face?
Yeah.
God, you realize they're going directly into your brain that way?
And you know what? And remember, a lot of ear infections are coming from that stuff.
Yes.
Ear infections from the headphones, the Bluetooth, the earbuds, the Apple earbuds. A lot of people are having, they're having, ear infections, and then that can cause erraticness also, and you not even know that you have an infection. So it's a lot of things. I would say that that goes a long way. I would say come on in and get an assessment. I'll take a look at them. If you're in the Philadelphia area, and we just go from there. But you got to start first with food choices.
Yeah, real quick before I go to the next one. In this business that I'm in television, you have to remember something, guys. Dr. Paul put it very kindly. He says, you don't see it, but the flicker that's on a TV rasters this way, left to right, okay? You know that your brain cannot take 4, 6, 8K. It bypasses your consciousness to go directly into your subliminal mind. So anything that is suggested there, it almost makes one an automaton.
It opens up the door. It opens up the door
do whatever
for
I
suggestion.
want you to do, guys. And then you can say, well, why is my child acting like that? You have no clue. And guess what? Neither do they. So be careful. And
a lot of them are dark too. A lot of the games are very dark, and they're brutal. They're bloody. You gotta pull them off of that. You gotta, if you have a young child or grandchild or a nephew or a niece or, that's playing these games and you're noticing these things, you got to pull them off of them games. You got to sort of reset them, get them outside, take them to the park, do something else. You got to get them away from that because yes, it can cause disruption in the nervous system. Because it makes it erratic, very erratic. Yeah.
Okay.
Get quiet. It's
one more thing.
Sure.
I was gonna just ask you about nutritional yeast. Is that something that you eat, or should I eat that?
Yeah, nutritional yeast is good, and remember it's non-active nutritional yeast. There's one that's by a company called Lewis Lab. That's the one that I recommend. They're in the Netherlands, and they moved out of Europe just to get to where they are because they knew the GMO factor. So it's kosher, it's non-GMO, and it's all that. So it's a very good additive that can be added to things like my green drink, because it is, but it's an amino acids. Those are primarily amino acids, and some of them are even grown on beets. So it's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. That's what, when someone wants to gain weight, we give them brewer's yeast. It's called brewer's yeast. That's the one that I recommend, brewer's yeast. It's a Yep. All right.
Okay. What do you take for gallbladder and gallstones, Dr. Paul?
Gallbladder and gallstones detox. They need a detox. Colon cleanse, parasite cleanse. Same things with the all of the blood cleanses that we talk about. You got to get a good cleanse. You got to clean the blood. See, when you have gallbladder, did they say gallbladder flush?
No, not gallbladder flush, just gallbladder. What would you do about
Just
it?
gallbladder? Yeah,
gallbladder
we would do
and gallstones.
Right. So you would do like a gallbladder flush, which would be a combination of a lot of things. I think we gave out the information for gallbladder, I believe.
I think it was last week or the week before, I believe.
Yeah, we gave out a gallbladder flush. Maybe I can, see if I can find. I think I did give away a formula for gallbladder flush. But anyway, it's all going to go back to blood cleansing anyway, because a lot of people are having gallstones, and when the gallstones get in there, sometimes they'll say they're by the hundreds, crystallizing because of the processed foods. It's just what it is, man. We're in a bad time when it comes to this food. You gotta, you know what it is, family. You can't not get it in your system.
Yeah.
So you got to understand that it's here to stay. It's long over, in everything, and it's cross references in all foods. So you can't not get it. But what you can do is have a go-to. And that go-to is certain things that you can do to flush the system. Try to cleanse every change of seasons, and have some herbs that when you flush, the number one thing, get the bowels moving. You got to get them bowels moving. That's the key right there. When your bowels stop moving, that's you showing something's wrong. Got it? That's your first sign right there. Mm-hmm. So if you're eating, you should be eliminating. But when you don't have good bowels, not good. That's when this thing start backing up. Because if it's not coming out of you, where is it going? It's going in somewhere else inside of you.
Yeah.
It's going back up into your flesh, somewhere else, in your organs. That's where that fatty liver is coming from. All that other stuff that people talk about. It's an overload, over toxins, and you got to get it moving, family. You got to get exercise and moving. If anything this pandemic has shown us is that we got to get it moving. You got to get it moving. Do some exercise. Even if you start off with just twice a week, start off with twice a week. Walk. Just walk. There's books on just walking. Just walk. Right. Just get moving. That's it. Chair exercises, something. Don't just sit there and just, do nothing. That's when if you don't move it, you're going to lose it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. What's the real story behind the marijuana plant? Do the plants have any natural support for our body?
Well, marijuana, just like anything, has a medicinal quality, but it's been denatured. That's the problem. Here we go again, not having a mandatory labeling law or a regulatory level of how to register this. The cannabinoids and all of those that have, their healing properties. Yes, it heals. The hemp and that hemp family, along with marijuana, have, of course, the difference is the THC, which is actually what's raised and what causes, when you heat it up, that's what gets you high. But what happens is they all have anti-inflammatory properties, but the problem is that they're denaturing the stuff. And when they're denaturing stuff, they're raising the THC in the marijuana that you don't know what you're getting. So they have all kind of combinations. They're mixed breeding it. I mean, there's so much stuff they're doing to it, man. I don't see how anybody's messing with it. I really would not mess with it at all right now. I don't, only because there's no regulatory level of monitoring. There's no way of monitoring that you're getting what you're getting. I think they did one study and they took about 30 top brands, and all 30, I think one had what it said it did. A lot of them didn't have anything. Some of them even had rat poison in them. I mean, it was crazy stuff, man. So you got to be very careful and remember, there's no regulatory agency, so you are taking a chance. That's just my spin on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here's one. This is a long one. I want to get it.
And I'm going to start, and then I'm going to go to some of the folks with their hands raised.
All right, you got it. How do you feel about the Sonata treatment for fibroids? I have 8-inch at top of uterus. It's a new treatment with no incision, using a tool through the vagina with a mini high-resolution ultrasound tip to locate fibroid, using radio frequency energy to shrink over time. I don't want a hysterectomy, any cutting. Please read this entire text. And that's what I've got.
Yes, that would definitely need an assessment. But keep this in mind. Even at the greatest level, where you determine that you know where this technology has, pinpointed, the procedure, or they going in and they're trying to shrink it down. Nothing's going anywhere until you start to clean the colon. You got it? You got to clean the system. See, the whole purpose of fibroid cyst and tumors happens from constipation. That's it. Years and years of constipation, eating out of cycle, eating out of rhythm, eating out of balance, eating meat in the day, in the morning time. These things will start to putrefy in your gut. For women, sits right in the lower intestines and therefore start to move down. 1 inch from the navel, top of the uterus, that's where we find first signs of fibroid cyst and tumors. Then it moves into the lining and then eventually into the uterus. Now they're talking, DNC and all the other things, and it gets complicated. So what is it, the real root of the problem? It goes back to your eating habits. You got to stay away from foods that are causing constipation, which means there's no life in the gut. Hydrogen-based foods, which is what? Anything green. Start getting them greens going, but you got to monitor your bowels. You got to get the bowels moving. That stuff is backing
Dr.
up.
Paul? That's my question. So, thank you. My name is Otisa. So, I went on a all raw fruit and vegetable diet, and it helped. But I only could last 2 months. So should I try it again and start all over? Yeah,
because remember, we're talking about years and years that this could have been going on, okay? And remember, when fibroid cyst or tumors of any kind, it's basically the body trying to bring it together in one mass. It's trying to quarantine and isolate it. You got it? Now, that's why they'll give us these techniques and technology and things like that. But what does it do? It takes us away from the true essence of what we really supposed to be doing. We got to get back in rhythm. We got to get back in cycle. We got to go back to, the laws of, the body, not breaking the rules. And we just have not been taught. So, I would say, come on through, get an assessment. Are you in Philadelphia?
I'm in Chicago.
You in Chicago? Oh, man. Well, we got to do a phone consultation with you, all right? And
yes,
I can put you on point, but be encouraged to understand that you got to focus on the solution, which is getting the intestines moving. How many bowel movements are you having a day?
Like 1 or 2. One every morning.
Yeah, see, that's what it is. You got to get it moving. Got it? So when you cleanse, you should be cleansing every change of seasons. Beginning of every summer, winter, spring, fall, you're supposed to be doing something, right? Colon cleanse, followed by a parasite cleanse. You got to purge that stuff out of the gut. Are you a meat eater?
Yes, but I can cut it off because I went with the all fruit and vegetable, and then I added back fish.
Yeah. So I would definitely watch that. And also remember, there is another level of understanding too, and this goes into there was a research piece that I was watching also that they tied into, and they're not saying this is just across the board, ladies, for everybody. It's not just speaking about you, my sister, but it's talking about prophylactics. Okay, when you're talking about they are causing a lot of cancer and also tampons. Got it? You got to watch them because they're filled with a lot of garbage. And a lot of the stuff is literally when they started opening up some of the tampons and things, what they were seeing was literally they were balled up newspapers and stuff like that. It was crazy. And it's very pollutant and toxin. And that's right into your body. that you're so it's a lot of a lot of that you have to watch out for. So watch. There was a program. There was brother. I think it was a sister that used to be in our class. Who was that? Someone who was actually selling those for women. But I would just say, go back to food, go back to diet, go back to cleansing. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Dr. Paul's on you now.
All right, we have on my side, I'm going to go back down the list here, and I'm just going to pull the first hand that I see. And the first one I have up here, I got Helen. Helen?
How are you doing, Dr. Paul? How you doing, Bill? How's
Hey,
everyone
Helen,
tonight?
how are you?
All right, we're doing
right.
well. How you doing? That's pretty background there, what
You're
you got there.
Oh, thank you so much. So I have a couple questions for you. The first one is in regards to DHA. I want to know what's the difference between taking DHA and the sea buckthorn. Are they like similar, or what's going to give my body a better source?
Yeah, I always say going back to you got to find out, what it is that you need. You remember we always talk about, what is that you need, and what is your body asking for. I just think that when you go into the DHA, you're going to go into different levels of, it's a little bit out of balance. Understand that it's taken from sources, and they're synthesizing it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But you can get all of that without synthesizing if you just take the sea buckthorn. You got it? Okay. See, the sea buckthorn just has so much. Even though the DHA is essential, that is for for the brain and all of that. As far as the omega-3 fatty acids, things like that. But see, when you have, I think, more with the, you have so much more with the sea buckthorn because it's 3, 6, 7, and 9. Mm-hmm. You got it? And plus, here's the thing that they don't get. This is the one part that makes, God a genius. I always say God's a genius. Yeah. Because think about it. They'll take something and they'll take a product and then they'll synthesize it, and they'll take some of the stuff that's natural. But this plant is actually used to the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. It's changing with the earth. So that sea buckthorn that was 1,000 years ago is not the same sea buckthorn that is this day. Mm-hmm. So it's changing. That's actually what happens, and people don't realize what happens when you've ever heard of the ecosystem. You know how they say when the rains come and then it draws up the the water into the clouds and the clouds go around and then it rains again and it waters the plants. That ecosystem cycle is one thing, but the one thing we were never taught is that this is where the atmosphere is communicating with the earth. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's deep. Yeah. That's deep. That's deep, y'all. That's deep. That means that when this rain hits, and then when the sun soaks that back up, that not only is water, but that's information going to the atmosphere. And then now the atmosphere is telling and feeling out what's going on. And, there's a lack of this and there's a lack of that and lack of nitrogen. Then it rains down, sending that information to the earth. And the earth says, we got to make some more of this. We got to make some more of that. And gives it to the plants. I mean, this system is amazing. So that's why I say the herbs are the meat of the earth. Because they're in a cycle and they're constantly updating. And they talking about giving you a booster right now, right? They talking about everybody getting a booster, but the earth is getting a boost every time it rains. Woo! Mm-hmm. Now that's awesome.
Right. That's a cleansing.
That's awesome. So it's a cycle. And when you get into that cycle, that's why I try to tell folks, try to stay off too much stuff that's been synthesized. Mm-hmm. If it's been synthesized and, they did that hydroxychloroquine. You remember that? Yes. That hydroxychloroquine, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that was based off of quinine from the cinchona tree that was back in the 50s. That's crazy. So that's why it has limited effect, because it's based off of the synthesis of a tree that was back in the 50s. We're in 2021.
Yeah,
so they would be smart to update that.
Right.
We get it from an updated cinchona tree instead of using that old one. So that's why I would always say go to the tree and always the plant, because the plant will give you exactly what you need. It's been updated and it's based on the pollutants and things that it's trying to, clean as of right now. That's
what about
awesome.
the fish oil?
Fish oil is the same thing. Remember, it's omega-3. So the fish oil is basically the same concept, but remember, you get the same thing from the algae, because that's where the fish are getting it from. They're getting it from the algae. But if you're getting farm raised and things like that, you're not getting that omega-3. So that's why people
sea buckthorn.
Sea buckthorn, I'm gonna tell y'all, and it's found in the mountains. That's some powerful stuff. I got some liquid just the other day, and let me tell you, I felt when I woke up the next morning, my lungs just were like wide open. See, it has this thing called inulin. Inulin keeps the moisture of your lungs. That's why it's very good for combating things like COVID-19 and all this stuff when they saying it's affecting your blood, but it's a blood cleanser. Sea buckthorn is very much one of those that needs to be in everyone's arsenal. But it gives connective tissue issues, like when someone has tendon issues coming from.
My next question is, because I'm still having issues with the tendons. So I was going to ask you, besides like hemp seeds and turmeric, what's something stronger, to help me with that?
Got to be that sea buckthorn. I'm gonna tell you, that sea buckthorn is no joke. I'm telling you.
So how many times a day I should be taking it? Like maybe three times a day?
Well, whatever the whatever the dosage is on the bottle, follow the bottle. Usually therapeutic levels. I can just give you an understanding that you have to take it based on what your cycle is and what your body can handle. But I'm going to say usually they give you a layman's version when they see it on the bottle. When you want to do things and be effective, you got to take a little bit more than what it says on the bottle. That's what's called therapeutic level to be effective, Okay. But yeah, I would do that. I would recommend the sea buckthorn.
And lastly would be like when you were speaking earlier about the emotional levels and dealing with that side. I think too is being able to deal with difficult people, being able to deal with envy and jealousy. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of that going on with people with their reactions and not knowing how to deal with, whether it's loss or anxiety, like you're saying, stress, rejection. It's just a lot of dead weight, a lot of negativity rather than positive.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. And then the post effects of COVID has actually has done its job on everybody, including the children, because you can't do the things that you normally want to do to release that energy. You have to be able to, life is about give and take. That means give love, receive love, and when more people are just taking, it seems like, then you're going to have that spirit. It's a greed spirit. It's a selfish spirit. And that's why I try to change the atmosphere. Wherever I go, I try to change the atmosphere. Right. Understand, folks, that you all have the ability to change the atmosphere.
Amen.
You can, it's not what somebody does to you, it's how you react to that situation. You can go off on them if they say something like, "What make them say that to me, big? What? What? He done lost his mind."
That's right.
What you say that to me for? And it's verbal abuse. When they came out with that thing, "Sticks and stones may break my bones.
Wrong answer.
Things will never hurt me." That was a lie.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
That's a big lie.
That was a big lie. That was a big lie. Y'all remember stuff somebody said to you, you meet somebody said, "You know what? How you doing? I still remember what you said to me back in 1972. What?
Holding a grudge.
Some people won't let it go.
Yes,
And
yes.
children remember everything. Children
Good job.
remember everything. They will remember everything. They're like sponges. So you might have one bad day and you say something bad, that child's going to remember that all their life. You know, trauma and what we say to each other, we have to have more compassion for each other and understand that, you know, we're all going through something right now, but just give, you know, I always tell people, you know, sometimes you got to separate yourself, go somewhere, you know, chill out. If you feel that you're going to, you know, be upset or you might say something, you can't pull it back once it's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. You know, and, you know, you can't pull that back. You know, you know what my grandfather used to do? Let me tell you. Paul, Big Paul. Big Paul used to, you know what? He and my grandmom used to get into it. Ethel May and Paul used to get into it. And I'm little Paul listening. I'm going back like this. You know, what's going on? Watching them argue. You know, after a while, what grandfather do, Big B, you know what he do? He go up there, grab his hat. I'm going to get the paper.
Well, I know that's right.
And he would go out. And then when he left, he would take a walk. And when he came back, everything was like ain't nothing ever happened. I'm like saying, what's going on in there? Like nothing ever happened. All that yelling was going on in there. Yo, that's how we handle it. You know, you got to decompress yourself.
De-stress.
You know, sometimes you know, never make decisions when you're angry. Y'all have heard this stuff. You know, so, but also treat each other with respect and courtesy. You know, you may not agree with somebody, but that don't mean you got to get mad at them.
Yep.
You know, so they may have a different opinion, and you know, but that's okay. That don't mean you got to agree with them just because they say it. You know, that's their point of view. You remember when we talked about the people and how their people's perceptions and how they look at things? They're just perceiving it from a different angle. That's it.
Amen. So very true.
And you know, and I sort of take some hits sometime when people say when I'm on the radio. And they say, Doc, won't you cut that person off? They say, cut them off. They talking too much.
Right.
Let them stop. Let them talk. You got to stop that person from doing. I say, no. You got to let them run. Because if I start talking and then you start talking, then somebody ain't listening.
Amen.
You got it? Somebody's not listening. So that's why you got to do double the listening and half the talking. Let somebody get off what they got to say, and then you come in. Okay, now let me express where I feel. And then so it's really, Helen, going back to communication. Yeah, people get hurt by the things that people say, and it really becomes something that you can't pull back. And sometimes it gets very painful. Sometimes it comes from somebody very close to you. Sometimes it comes from the closest one.
Always.
You know, and that hurts even more because you're like, like somebody hit you with something.
I can't believe you said
if they did it to Jesus, they'll do it to you.
That's right. So I would just, you know, be encouraged and understand that, you know, try to not hold on to things. You know, don't hold on to things. You know, we are like, you know, frequencies and emotions and things are feelings, got it? And they flow through us. Don't try to hold on to them. Just let it pass on through you.
Let it go.
You got it? You got to let it pass on through you.
What you say and how you say it.
I
don't get that.
No
you know, they try to say it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. But it's both. It's what you say and how you say it.
You got it. You got it. You got to know how to, you know, we say you catch more flies with honey, y'all.
Wow.
Because people are so easily offended, you know?
Yes.
Helen, my favorite statement
but people are also very catty too. They'll say stuff just to you know, like you why you go there? You know,
it's so catty.
You know, why you go there? You ain't have to say that. You know, but people want to get the up on each other, you know, and when it becomes like I need to get up on you and I get it's a competition, then you need to separate yourself from that. I used to be able to do that very well. And I find that some of the greatest things that you can do is just like excuse yourself from a situation. You know, I used to do that very well. Oh, man, I used to do that very well. Say, oh, man, you know what? I got some beans on the bun. I'll see y'all later. And that says everything.
That's your friends and your frenemies.
Yeah,
you got some enemies in your circle.
That is correct. That is correct.
That's
so
talking about Willis.
Yeah, that's what
I heard that. I know that's right.
So just keep that in mind, you know. But I want to say one last thing before we go to the next person. And I'm going to tell y'all that, forgiveness is a huge one. You got it? So just like you're being tested when somebody tests you, I believe God's testing us on how do we deal with it and how do we forgive
every day.
You know what I mean? So you keep holding on to stuff. That means you ain't quite forgiven. Maybe he's working on you. So that's why you got to sort of let these things go sometimes. Let it go, and just keep it on, keep it moving. And it hurts, and sometimes maybe you will resolve it one day. But I say don't let it change your outlook and your direction of where you're going. Got it?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Don. I heard that.
All right. What did Dolly say? What did Dolly say?
70 times 70.
7 times 70.
Yes,
7 times 70.
Wow.
Let me tell you, man. Let me tell you. Let me tell y'all. The laws of the universe are with you. Got it? And I'm gonna give you some encouragement. The laws of the universe are with you. And that is karma that you send forth, whatever the intention. You want to be sharp with somebody, you're going to get cut at the end. You're going to want to get cut. You got it? There's a proverb that said, he that rolleth a stone, it shall surely roll back upon him.
Amen.
And he that dig a ditch shall soon fall in it.
Yes.
So karma that you send out, don't underestimate the fact that karma, when someone has a negative intention to you, it's going to come back on them far greater than you could ever try to get them back with. I'm going to tell y'all. I'm going to tell you, see, it may not come the way they think it's going to come, but it's going to come back on them usually double, sometimes triple, sometimes 10 times what they put out. So don't worry about it. That's why you just say, hey, go ahead, do your thing, because I don't want to deal with you, because Most High God got me, and if you got property anyway, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
That's right. There you go.
All right, family. All right. Let me move on to the next one. We got Shelly. Shelly?
Hi, how are you?
How you doing there, Shelly?
I'm okay. So I have diabetes, and I was diagnosed about 6 weeks ago with stage 4 chronic kidney disease. I have like a host of symptoms and things. I have high blood pressure. I have trouble going to the bathroom. So a bunch of things. So I started I started getting colonics and listening to you, and I'm following a detox right now. There was a big improvement in 20 days because the detox was 20 days. But my blood pressure really has not gone down that much. And my swelling, I still have swelling in my feet. I used to have swelling up to my knees. So I signed up for your evaluation, but I have to wait till November. I'm trying to do whatever I can because stage 4, as they tell me, is preparing me for dialysis or a new kidney. And ever since I've been going through this whole thing, I started, eliminating every day. Now I'm about 4 days a week. But it's a lot better than it was because I wasn't really doing anything at all.
So when you said 4 days a week, you said elimination 4 days a week? Just only 4 days? You mean bowel movements you're talking about? Right.
But that's a tremendous improvement from before.
Right. So first thing, and hopefully you start to make the adjustments, right? You got to start with the water. Okay. Water. Okay. Your hydration is everything. So half your body weight in ounces, right?
Yes.
So are you getting the proper amount of water in and with the right water?
Yes, I do use the crystal geyser, and actually, my boss has the Kangen water, which I
Kangen water.
Yeah, which I bring home too.
Okay, what's the number on the Kangen water? What's the pH? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, remember when you're doing Kangen water is good, but remember it loses its charge after about a day or two. Got it? So if you have water, don't store that water up. You don't store that water up. That's why Kangen machines are really, for if you're having it in your home. They start to lose their charge. Remember, they're using what's called platinum plates. Platinum plates are actually, it needs a little bit of, when they send the charge through the water, it's going to charge the water plus on one side, negative on the other side. So plus would be what? That's the acid water. Alkaline, negative would be alkaline drinking water. But remember, it loses its charge. So you probably want to just stick with the crystal geyser right now, or any water, that spring water bottle at the source, unless you have a Kangen machine. Got it?
No, I don't.
Okay, so that's what I would recommend. Or if you know that the water that you get from the person who has the Kangen machine, you're going to get it in within a certain amount of time. Got it? Hydration is number one. Number two has to go back to concentration.
Right.
Watch concentration. You've heard me speak about concentration. Yes. Refined sugar, refined salt, refined oils. You got to watch those oils. You got it? To kickstart the kidneys again, and and also the pancreas and all of the liver, all of it works systemically, so they work together. So you got to start to get that concentration out of the system, but you got to add hydrogen. Got it? See, many people are fighting, and they'll go and do herbs. They have all the fighters, but they don't have feeders. You got it? In nature, in everything that God has created on this planet, it has a feeder and a fighter. That's why vitamin C is so good, because it has a feeder. It feeds the body at the same time as it's fighting. So many people will have the fighters together, and they're fighting it down, but now you don't have anything to build the system up. So hydrogen usually is the key. So that means green drinks. That's why we focus on the green drink. So I would increase, not to diagnose, treat, kill, prevent disease, just food for the soul. I don't know your situation until you come in, but you got to increase your hydrogen. That's the energy of the universe. That's what's going to wake up the pancreas, wake up the kidneys, wake up everything, because that's energy in each and every cell in your body. You got it? So I would do that and try to get as many in as possible. In most cases, 3 green drinks a day is what I look at. Usually when people start to take the green drink and they do 3 teaspoons in 12 ounces of your favorite water, you can do 50-50 juice and water, or just straight juice, whatever your choice is. Got to be 100% juice. Usually people start to stay leveled off, because that means their body's getting energy it never had before.
Okay.
So how many are you doing? Any green drinks? I didn't ask you that question. Did I?
No,
how much?
No, I did. I do have some. I did receive some. My friend is one. My friend Mina Pinkney is the person who put me on to you, and the other person. I forgot to tell you though that I was on a bunch of medicine, and with the detox, I stopped the medicine to see what was going on. And because of that, my sugar levels are consistent between 97 and 111 without no medicine.
Right.
But my blood pressure is high, and there's other things that have.
Yeah. See, blood pressure.
Yeah. See, and that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah. See, blood pressure can be very much a lot of different things. That's why the RM3A that we do the testing is so very important, because you can have this thing called endothelial. Endothelial is the vessels, and the vessels, when they stop moving, like if you got the artery and vein, looks like that circle, y'all can see that, right? It starts to push. That's what pushes. The vessels push, and you got vessels all over your body. But what happens is when you get too much acid in the body, those vessels start to slow down the process, and then that's when blood starts to get thick, starts to clot up. That's why the number one cause for people, when they were talking about people who were taking vaccines and they were having all these problems and they were actually clotting up, it was destroying the lining of the endothelial. Got it? That's what it was doing. So that's just one thing. Not saying that's your problem, but that's one thing to look at. The other thing is plaque buildup. Plaque buildup. And that's just the oils. I say it's always the oils. So if not directly, indirectly, the oils that you're picking up from cakes, cookies, pies, bread, condiments, everything has a little bit of oil in it.
Right.
Got it? So you got to watch that. I'm telling you, that canola oil is on the rise, y'all. I mean, it's just the most...
Everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It is ridiculous. So every little bit of that in a meal adds to a large level here. You got it? So I would start to do that. Make sure your hydration is right. Make sure you're not getting concentrated foods. Make sure you're doing proper exercise too. I want you to do a little exercise, right? You got to do some exercise because you got to move that system. And then the last thing that happens with diabetes, there's, with that concentration thing, the pancreas stops making two vital nutrients, magnesium and chromium, and also vanadium. That would be a third one. And those are your three right there. So when it stops making those three, then it starts making insulin. And remember, insulin is the turnkey. That's the turnkey. That's what opens up the cell wall, allows the nutrients to get into the cell. But if you don't have no turnkey, you're just going to build up all this glucose, which is energy that's supposed to get in the cell. Can't do it. Next thing you know, diabetes. That's what diabetes is. Got it? So I would also say on the spiritual level with diabetes, we got to look for food cravings. Got it? Food cravings. Are you taking any specific herb for diabetes right now? Any specific one?
No.
No,
I mean, I have some with the detox. There has been, I forgot what. He gave me something with a lot of different oils in it. I can't remember everything.
I would not mess with oils with you.
Okay.
Not with high blood pressure. That could be what's causing your high blood pressure right there. See, if you have a problem processing oils, it's not good for you on any level.
Okay.
Got it? On any level. Because that's gunking up your liver. You got it? So some people have problems processing oils. You would deal strictly with herbs. That's the one flag right there. I would definitely not. That may be causing your pressure right there.
The other thing,
you have a problem with processing. Not to say that's, of course, when you come in, we can be more exact.
Okay.
But you got to be careful of that. So if anything, I just want to give the family, not to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent disease, just food for the soul. I want to give you some herbs for diabetes, or that has been traditionally used for balancing and resonating and getting the pancreas to spark again, to get it moving. We call Isles of Langerhans. That's what it is. So what happens is you got to fire this up to start moving again. So what that usually is, it starts with things like the Gymnema. I always recommend Gymnema as one of the ones that we start with. Now we say may not be for you, but this is just traditionally what our people have used. Gymnema sylvestre. Okay, Gymnema. Second word is sylvestre, SYL, V as in Victor, ESTRE. Got it?
Yes.
Gymnema sylvestre. The other one would be bilberry. Bilberry, BILBERRY. Okay, or any of that bilberry, blueberry, bayberry family. Also huckleberry. That's the wild blueberry. Got it?
Okay.
There's also one called, there's a few things that we can use for that. Vanadium, specifically vanadium. And I mentioned chromium. Okay, and magnesium.
Yeah, I always have a problem with the magnesium.
Right.
In my labs.
Right. So here's what I'm saying though. So that's why we would strictly go towards the herb as opposed, because the herb is in balance. So I wouldn't I wouldn't mess too much around with just the specific mineral or nutrients. I wouldn't do that. Like if it's vanadium, chromium, or one of those, I wouldn't mess with that. Just go. We always try to say stick with the plant. Okay. But that's just the ballpark of what's going on there. You gotta, you gotta watch food choices, right? No food. Right. Watch the food choices. Watch the sugar. And also one last thing. Nothing that's concentrated that you pour. Nothing that's thick. Okay, nothing that pours slow.
Right.
Got it. Like so that would be what? Syrup. What else?
Molasses.
What else? Honey.
Oh.
Honey.
Yeah.
Agave. You smiling.
Oh, no.
Are you been taking a lot of honey?
Sheila, don't worry about it. Sometimes sugar is not correct, so don't worry about it. You just got to come off of it.
Yeah, the honey is what.
Not for you. Not for you. That's insulin resistance. You are insulin resistant. You can't break that down. Okay. Not for you. Got it? Now, anything that's concentrated, remember, that's seriously concentrated. Now it has to use, the body says, I got to get water to break that down. You got it? So that's going to work as a deficit to you. It's going to pull you back down. Got it? So your body's kind of working against itself. So hopefully that helps you, Shelly. All right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you, okay?
Okay.
All right, Big B. Who else do I have here? I have, you got any questions on that side?
Yeah, what about arthritis? What do you take for arthritis?
That's a loaded question. Arthritis is inflammation, man. Too much acid. Stay off the acid foods. That's it. Remember when you talk about arthritis, it's we have to reprogram our thinking. It's the body's attempt to heal itself. It's trying to correct the problem by, reducing the acid. So it's taking the alkaline from somewhere else. That's like you taking a cold water and throwing it on a hot fire. Inflammation, right? That's what's happening. It's got to cool down. It's too much inflammation there. There's too much heat there. So the body's trying to reduce the heat by grabbing it from somewhere else. So that's why it goes after your hip. And your knees. And you say, boy, my hip is killing me, boy. Oh, Lord. Yep. That's because you're too acidic. Too much acid. Stay away from the acid foods. We would never have these problems if we just had real food, y'all.
Amen.
If we just had food that was unrefined. Sugars, unrefined salts, unrefined oils, just like they used to have back in the day. They weren't doing all this refining stuff. We wouldn't have the problems that we have now, and it's just the body reacting. So inflammation has everything to do with dehydration. Same thing, acid, alkaline, balance, imbalances. So I would definitely say they got to alkalize. Got it? All right, I'm going to go to, let's see, I have here, Galaxy, was that AO2S? I don't know, have a name up there. I don't know if that was there. I guess I don't know who that is. They have their hand up. All right, we're going to go to Sheila. Sheila? Is Sheila there?
Hi, I'm here.
Hey, Sheila, how are you?
I was just washing the dishes. Thank you, Dr. Paul, for everything. I have just one question, and it's for my man friend. He wants to know, what's your daily regimen? What do you take every day as a vitamin or a herb on a daily basis?
Yeah, mine is number one is my green drink. That's it. The whole purpose of that, because I know that we're fighting. So we got to get a green drink in. That's the foundation for everything that I do. Then it's based on the season, what I'm taking for that day. Like I said, I will always mix in there some things for bones, joints, ligaments, connective tissue. Like I mentioned earlier that I'm taking the sea buckthorn now, the liquid sea buckthorn. I just add everything into my green drink. And then I'm adding also another coral calcium, which is a powder version of the coral calcium, which comes out of the ocean, the greatest source of bioavailable calcium, which means your bone density. So that means, stops, you ever had those, walking up the steps, you feel the knee. What was that? Yeah, that's coral calcium will help that. That's also good for inflammation from the last question. Let's see, what else? Then I also do some COVID protection stuff. So Golden Seal, if I do a Golden Seal cleanse, but I got a vitamin D, of course, vitamin D right now, and zinc. That's my rotation right now. But that rotation changes based on what's going on.
So I wanted to ask you a question about the oregano oil. I take every day, but I start thinking, is that something that you just take every day, or is it just for a time period?
Well, usually, traditionally, we just took it for seasonal. But now, because of the COVID-19 and now COVID-21, I would definitely suggest everyone do it as a daily routine. Yep, I would do it regularly because, you have both regular and extra strength. Do you have the liquid versions of the oregano?
I have both. I have the capsule, the oregano by Nature's Way, and I have the drop, the liquid.
Yeah, all good stuff. So that's all good protection, immune builders. You have to be there now. Y'all heard about what's going on. We've been talking about this on the family tree for over more than a month.
A long time.
We've been talking about how this variant is not going anywhere. A threat anywhere is a threat everywhere, and that this thing was already in over in India, and that if you thought that it wasn't coming this way, you're crazy.
I know that's right.
He knew it was coming this way, and I knew it was going to hit us harder than ever. It's going to hit us harder this time because people are really mentally not prepared. You were prepared for the finish line, and then you got to the 2 steps before you got to the finish line, you found out you were in the wrong race. Now you got to get into the other lane.
Okay, now.
And then you got to run the race again. You got it? So we're nowhere where we're back to zero again. We're back to the same spot we were, and we're a little worse than we were this time last year. Yeah.
Dr. Paul, I know you said seasonally you take 2,000 IUs of the D during the summer.
5,000.
5,000 during the winter season?
No, it's 5,000 during the summer, okay, and 10,000 during the winter.
Okay.
10,000 IUs. And remember, if you have problems with oils, I would recommend not D3 but D2. Okay. If you're having process with, some people just don't process oils very well.
So how do you know if you don't process oils well?
Liver. It's the liver issues. Yep. Liver congestion, cholesterol, those are signs right there. High blood pressure, those are signs. Yep. That's usually what some of the things that I see when we're doing the testing. The commonality is with those who can't process the oils, because remember, anything touches your skin is in your liver and literally in your bloodstream in 28 seconds. So that's why some people will take some oils and they can put it right on the skin and it works well with them. But then some people can't process that well. They don't process it very well. They can't break it down, and the liver has a little time. It's hard to process. Same thing that happens with vitamin A versus beta carotene. Okay, same process, but vitamin A goes directly into the system, right? Whereas beta carotene has to be converted with the liver. Got it? But if you got a liver that's a fatty liver, or you got issues with congestion in the liver, beta carotene is going to have a problem breaking down the vitamin A for you. You got it?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, let's see, who do we have here?
Dr. Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Yeah, I had a little issue. I was trying to unmute it and I couldn't find it.
We can't see you.
We got you now. Go ahead.
Hold on. Let me turn the light on. Okay.
There you go. Who is that?
My name is Edwina.
Hey, Edwina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
Wonderful.
So I'm really, really enjoying your show. My cousin, who's in Philly, told me to check out the Zoom today.
All right. All right.
And I had a question. Well, two questions. My first question, a friend of mine is having some issues with ejection fraction. He had a heart attack back in December, and they put a defibrillator. And, so he just recently found out that they were saying that his ejection fraction was low. So my question is, what is there anything that he can take? Because I know it's kind of funny and iffy when he's got some kidney stuff going on too, and I don't know if the two are related. But so it's kind of iffy as far as concerning him with herbs and processing those things.
Yeah, when you have, and that's dealing with ejection fraction. EF is actually dealing with the pump. The left side, usually left side, and that's the side where you're having a little bit, issues there. So that would be we have a test that we do if he's able to come into Philly. It's called the RM3A, where I can tell you exactly what's going on there. We got to always come back to food choices. Things that we do, number one, dehydration, food choices, get that off the table. But when you're dealing with building the heart and dealing with the way the heart's pumping, and sometimes you get a little delay in there, we got to look at certain things. And these are just traditionally the herbs. I'm going to give you three that come to mind, okay? And I'm not saying this is for him, of course, but this is just traditionally not to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease, of course, right?
Right.
But when you're looking at pumping and things like that, you got to look at things like the hawthorn berries.
Okay.
Okay, everybody knows hawthorns. Also, you got to look at CoQ10. Okay, CoQ10 deals with rhythmic issues, but also valve issues, but also it helps to repair those things. But it's also very good for spark, to give the spark to the heart again, the enzyme, the coenzyme. And usually people don't do it to the level where it's therapeutic, though. So usually when we, traditionally do CoQ10, get it from an herbal store, and we say get it as close to 1,000 milligrams as possible. That's what we do. And there are some that can get you around 300 per capsule, but usually you got to get it high, the CoQ10, to be effective. There's a lot of good ones out there, though. The last one would be called cinchona.
I've heard of
it. Cinchona is where that's where they get the quinine from. You've heard of quinine?
Yeah.
Okay, quinine is what
with quinine, right?
Yeah, quinine, and that's where they get the hydroxychloroquine. You've heard of that, right? Specifically for COVID-19. Well, they get the quinine.
Wait. You just confused me. Quinine. Oh, right. That's quinine is the tree?
No, the quinine is in the cinchona tree.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it. I'm sorry. I moved too fast. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay.
See, when they take the quinine out of the cinchona, that's a Brazilian bark off of a tree from Brazil. That's what they use to to reduce inflammation in the heart. That's what they do. And also to deal with clotting issues or valve issues or things like that.
Yep. Okay. Because there is a valve issue and there is some arrhythmia. I mean, it's all of that going on.
Yeah, flutters, all those flutters, all those different things. So really, there's also the last thing we talk about is the red onion, the allium family. The allium family, any of the allium family would be a good help. Also, alliums are like the onion and the garlic family. Got it? Onions and garlic. That's what actually helps to literally scrub the arteries and veins. We have the red onion tea that I tell everybody about. That's what makes it so good.
Okay.
All right.
I knew a brother from Peru. He used to drink it. One of my auntie's friends, and he would offer it to me all the time. And every time he was always drinking the red onion tea. Always
there you go.
Yeah, he was always
smart
drinking
man,
that.
smart man, smart man.
But I'm gonna start drinking it.
All right.
So my second question, I have a question about mullein. Like I'm on mullein hard. I know it's one of those that you have to be careful with, but I take it at least 2 to 3 times a week for asthma. But I've been doing some research on it, and it's like it helps with other things other than the lungs. So
absolutely, yeah.
So
see, when you take mullein is, mullein's ancient name is called Aaron's rod.
Okay.
Aaron's rod. So it represents. They used to take mullein, and even back to the Ark of the Covenant, they placed it in the Ark of the Covenant to represent, how they said man shall not eat by bread alone. So anything that had representation, they put it in the Ark of the Covenant. Well, they put the branch of the Aaron's rod, which is mullein, into the Ark of the Covenant. Now, here's the wild part. It represented breath of God.
Come on now. Really?
Yes, it does. So that means that if I take this, it'll be like God breathing life back into me.
Well,
can I tell you something? No. Can I tell you something? Look, so okay. My father passed away 3 years ago. He had heart issues. He didn't tell nobody, right? He didn't tell what was going on with him. But I noticed he had this cough. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to send you some mullein. I'm going to send you some mullein tea, And he was a smoker, my dad. And I'm 43. I was 40 then. He's been a smoker since I can ever remember, and probably before. And so I sent him the mullein, and I told him, I said, if you have any issues where, you feel like you can't breathe or whatever, you can smoke it if you want. And it'll go there instantly. And so I sent him about 5 boxes. Well, my dad ended up passing. And we ended up finding out that he had these heart issues and all this stuff later on, right? The heart, he had an issue where the heart was dying, right? I forget what they call that. But what shocked me is when we saw the on the death certificate, they had a partial autopsy report done on the death certificate. And so I'm reading it, and it says, as far as signs of tobacco use, it said it didn't show any signs. And so I said, well, maybe they made a mistake. Right? I said, maybe it was a mistake, because I know it's going to show up on the autopsy report. Some months later, we got the autopsy report. Every single organ in his body, they said his lungs were in perfect health. There was no tar in his lungs, no sign of tobacco use. The liver was great. My father was a drinker too. I mean, all of these organs that they should have been jacked up, they weren't. And he was only on the mullein for about 5 or 6 months before he passed.
Wow. Yeah, it's a powerful herb. And that was also the herb that got us, for those that know that, that was an herb for the slaves used to get through the winters. That was the one. Yep, that was the one that got them.
I'll be there.
Yep. All right, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all.
901, my friend.
Big B, you rolling the finger on me, man.
Yes, sir, buddy. We are 901.
It's 901.
Can I ask a quick question?
One quick question?
Okay, I'm going to go to Jay, and then Flo, you can end it up, okay? All right, Jay?
I wanted to know probiotics. What are probiotics, and do they really work? Do the kind in the bottles work? Do we need them? Or that's just the big thing?
Yeah, probiotics, I don't recommend probiotics. I think that the problem is we have to be prebiotic, which means give your body what it needs, which is in greens, the hydrogen-based greens, and then we create the probiotic. You should never have to get probiotics from from something that's dead, that's rotted, because that's really what it is. It's fermentation, which is something that used to be alive and now is dead, or the mammary glands of an animal like a cow. Got it? You don't want that. You want it always from something that you feed the body, let the body do what it does, which means we convert it. We are the converters. You don't need somebody to convert for you, but they'll put lactose, bacillus, they'll put all these different ones in there, and it causes imbalance. It'll give you temporary support, but it will not in the long term. It'll destroy your gut. So nothing dead. Remember, only life begets life. Got it? So feed the body the greens, and then the body converts it from prebiotic to probiotic. So you don't need it. You got it?
So you're saying all greens, like all salad, all collard greens, and
or green drinks. Like green drinks, specifically green drinks, land and sea. Land and sea.
So your green drink would be a probiotic?
That is actually it. That's a prebiotic. That means that's a prebiotic. Okay. It's a prebiotic. Okay. You create the probiotic. You got it? Okay. Let the body do what it's designed to do, right?
All right. So long as I have your green drink, then I'm fine.
You got it. You'll notice that the gut will balance out. That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So let's see. Queen Flo. Thank you so much. That was a good question. Queen Flo.
Dr. Paul, Dr. Blake,
Who is that? We got somebody. We got some feedback. Somebody mute yourself.
Dr. Paul, just mute everybody and bring Flo back.
All right, hold up. All right, I think they got it. Okay, Flo, go ahead.
Dr. Blake, he doesn't do the colonoscopy like he used to do anymore.
Yeah, no.
Colonoscopy. You know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Well, the colonoscopy, mean? What do you mean? He does the
holistic colonoscopy.
Yeah, he does a hydro cleanse. It's just a colon cleanse. That's all it is. It's a colonic. That's just a. It's just basically it's the same thing as a colonic. Okay, basically, which they use water to flush the system as opposed to using the liquid. Yep.
Okay, so before he used to do that, before he gave you the
colonoscopy. Mm-hmm.
He did that before, but now that's the only thing he's doing. So that really, if there's anything there, can you really see it?
Yeah, well, it's what's interesting about it. Everybody's back and coming right on back home. As we never left. Everybody's coming back home. What does it mean? Just clean the colon. You got to cleanse every change of seasons. You got it? See, we didn't, a lot of people didn't get into too much probing with the colonics because, they were looking for polyps. And sometimes you need to have that. But you got to get into a way and system of life, which means that you got to cleanse every change of season. Keep it moving. If you keep it moving, you ain't got time for stuff to sit there and get in your gut and rot. You got it? So you got to keep it moving. And then I think I was with Dr. Blake when he announced, matter of fact, his show comes on once a month before my show on Sundays. And I remember when he was telling us that he was having a problem with the reason why, of course, with the I think it was Medicare and things like that. So he decided not to do that anymore. But it's still good. He's still good. He's very good. He's very good at what he does. So I do still recommend him. He's a good brother, and he's doing good work, man. He's helping a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the colonics, I used to do those when I was in Philly. I used to do that like once or twice a month. Is it
colonics
too much?
Yeah, you don't want to do too many colonics. I tell people to do the colon cleanse, parasite cleanse first, herbal cleanse. Because sometimes, some people will have a reaction where they should not have, they'll pull out too much good bacteria and then it resets everything. And then they start having all these abdominal issues. So there's no greater system than what's already inside of you. You just got to get it moving. We don't want to have to look for quick fixes to substitute for, discipline in our activities and what we do. You got it? You don't let it. Don't get past the fact that we still have to have a discipline with the way we're eating and where we're cleansing. So that's what I would recommend. All right.
Okay.
All right. I got it. Big B. We
Yeah,
almost out of here. I want to
Yeah,
grab
but-
someone who has not been here before.
Okay.
Who has
okay.
not been here before, and this as a last person to talk to.
Okay.
Is it someone who has not been here before?
I have a question
Jackie,
for you.
Jackie, are this the first time you're here? Is Jackie?
I came a long time ago. Yes, can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, I hear
Yeah.
you. Go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, I have a 2-year-old daughter that has sickle cell. We haven't had any crisis with her. We put her on a vegetarian diet. We opted not to do the penicillin that the doctors recommended, which is like twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And we give her iron and multivitamins daily. I just wanted to know, is there anything that we're missing or anything that we should be aware of, just to kind of help us on this journey?
Yeah, when you're talking about sickle cell, you're talking about the formation of the cells, which of course are sickling, and that's dealing with the formation of the cells, and they'll tell you it's based on the absorption of proteins that can't break themselves into the cells. So here's what you got to do. Definitely got your water right? You got the water right. How old is your daughter?
Ooh.
How old is your daughter?
She's 2.5.
2.5. Okay, so you got to watch the water. You know the water intake. Are you giving her water yet?
Yeah, she drinks water. She likes water.
Okay, good. So get the water, half the body weight in ounces. Got it?
Okay.
And then watch the sugar. Okay, no sugar. Got it?
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. Green drinks, even for the babies, is what we do.
Right now.
My son was, I gave him the green drinks, and the more I gave him the green drinks, the more he craved, fruits and vegetables. It would shock them when he was about 3 or 4 years old, saying tweez. He's trying to tell me, he said tweez. And we're like, what is he saying? Tweez. He talking about broccoli. I want some broccoli. And that's what he was saying. So they crave it once they get it in the right form. You're training the child at a very early age. Green drinks, yes. So they would get just small, put it in the sippy cup, one little scoop, right in the sippy cup. Yep, the favorite juice. No cranberry juice, no pomegranate juice, no carrot juice. Got it? No orange juice. Got it? Those are the ones. So you can do like an apple juice, grape juice, pineapple juice. Those are all good. Got it?
Okay,
now,
I don't usually do juice with her. But
right.
okay.
Right. I'm just giving you options that you may have with the green drink,
Okay.
but usually the children don't need much. Now, I would also test for one thing. Write this down. Has she been tested for what's called G6PD enzyme deficiency?
Mm-mm.
Have you ever heard of that?
Say that again. G6? No, I haven't.
Right. G is in go. 6, the number 6. PD, Paul David, enzyme deficiency. G6PD, enzyme deficiency. Okay, now they used to say, this is important, that's why I'm going a little long here, Big B. This one here affects 1 out of 4 children, specifically boys. And they used to test it with sickle cell. They don't do it anymore. So what does it mean? It means that in the DNA strand, the cells do not form properly. So they don't sickle, but they're malformed. Some say that when we do the tracing of where it comes from, along with sickle cell, it comes from your African ancestry as a body mutation from malaria. So that means if you have sickle cell or G6PD, you cannot get malaria, because malaria is a parasite and it can't feed off of bad cells. It only feeds off of good cells. Interesting. I would check to make sure. You would check her for G6PD enzyme deficiency. And when you do that, sometimes the other name of it is called favism. Favism. F-A-V. Like the fava bean. That means that having problems or coagulation issues with fava beans. So I would watch the fava beans. But I'm going to tell you right now, I was actually one of the G6PD enzyme. I did say was, didn't I? Did I say was? Yep, was. Got it? Where they told me that I had this thing and that I was carrying from my mom and father. You know, your mama had, your daddy got it, had it, and now you will have the rest of your life. I said, you're a lie. Number one. And then I started to feed the body hydrogen, base, greens, land, and sea. That's the formation of the green drink that I have. It was based on the fact that I had a deficiency, that I couldn't get it right. But when I did the research, it just showed who I was and where my ancestry comes from. That's powerful, y'all. That's powerful.
Yeah.
So that means that we're starving here. We're starving on this part of the planet, this northern hemisphere. We don't have the nutrients. That's why all our issues are blood issues. They're deficiency because we're far away from the equator. We got to eat like we're from the equator. Equator is the hottest place on the planet. So that's why the greens that I recommend, I try to get it from the lower part of the peninsula where we can get all of our energy, which is the equator. So Brazil, you know, Costa Rica, you know, down in areas of South Africa, it's anywhere on that equator, you got to get your food. So that's what the green drink does. I would just, you know, check her for the G6PD enzyme efficiency, but green drink, green drink, green drink. And try to do it 3 times a day. Okay.
That sounds good. So with the G6PD enzyme, what would that mean, or what am I looking for with that?
Well, what it means is it's a formation. Remember, it's a malformation of the cells, just like sickle cell. They used to do them hand in hand, but they stopped testing them. But it affects 1 out of 4 African American babies. You got it?
Okay.
So it just shows that there's a deficiency. See, they may be attacking it from a different angle with the G6 versus sickle cell. You got it? So it all just means that we got to clean the blood. We got to clean the blood again. We got to clean it up. So I would definitely get tested for G6PD along with sickle cell. And also, you may want to get tested also, the parents. You want to get tested also.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right,
All
family.
Right, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes, sir.
man, Big B, we just went straight to it today, man.
Yes, sir, man. Look, this was a great program today, man.
We just went straight to it.
Yes,
I want to thank you all. So, Big
yes.
B, close us out, man. How are we going to do this thing? How can the family support what we're doing here?
Yes, indeed, guys. Of course, we always appreciate all the things you do for us here each week. First of all, let me say to you, if you would like to get a copy of tonight's chat, just send an email to meccavideo@gmail.com. It's in the chat, so you just take a look at it. Again, that's MECCAVIDEO@gmail.com. That's to get a copy of tonight's chat. Now, to continue to support us here on the Family Tree, just send us a bit of donation right to Dr. Paul's Cash App, and that's $, capital DR, capital PAUL, capital HOP. And hey, make sure that it works. So I'm telling you, it's an awesome job to just make sure that God keeps blessing us right here in the family. God bless you, and we'll see you next Wednesday night.
All right, Big B. Let's give
buddy.
Big B a hand, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Let's give him a hand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And hey, family, did you learn anything tonight? If you learned something, put your hands together, y'all. You learned something?
Yes, indeed.
All right. Always a pleasure to be amongst the family.
Yes.
I pray everyone will do well. Keep yourself and your mask on.
Get the hell
And, you know, we always say that when we, no matter what's going on, you know, keep your immune system going. Remember, it's about the blood always. Don't let nobody fool you. And I don't know if y'all did hear, I didn't talk about the topics I wanted to talk about. I did have one, and that's that did y'all hear that the testing is not actually accurate? The testing, they actually announced that the PVC testing is not accurate. So what does that mean? That means that it's based on the cycles in which it spins. So when it spins, if it doesn't spin or it spins at a certain watt, you can actually adjust the rate in which it is positive or negative. Wow. Just came out with that. So now they should be revisiting all the people that they determined that had it in the beginning. Wow. It's amazing, y'all. But hey, y'all, don't be discouraged. Be encouraged. And understand that, remember, if you're breathing, you got a shot. So God bless y'all.
Hey. Good night.
All right.
Good night, little boy.
All right. All right, family. God bless y'all. Hey, Kamara. What's up? Hey. Y'all can dance if y'all want to.
Yeah, you see Margaret.
Chioma, how you doing? All right.
What's up?
All right. Y'all can shake your head or something. It's alright to shake your head. You better shake your head because you might lose your head.
That's right.
All right.
Get the information out to you as soon as Dr. Paul gets me the links. We'll get it out to you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
It's been a pleasure. God bless y'all, and thank you for tuning in to the Family Tree. Good night. Goodbye, John Boy. Good night, Big B. Hey, Karen, what's up, man? Nice to see you over there. All right, Beverly, Eham, Claudia. All right. Patricia, Margaret, but Margaret ain't stopped dancing. Still ain't there. Big B, I think she's still dancing from last week.
That's right. Good night, Queen Sarah. I see you hand on your eyes over there.
I think she stopped dancing since last week. She tapped it out. There you go. Tap it out, y'all. Tap it out. Tap it out.
That's right, buddy.
There you go. There you go. Tap it out.
Every week.
You know, y'all know how to do that, y'all. Ladies, y'all know how to do this one, right? Hey. All right, here's the kidneys right up here. Kidneys is right up here. Got it? Right in here is the sternum right here. That's what's actually what? That's the kidney. That's that's the one for cancer right here, right in the middle. Right in the middle. That one right here. All right, William, I see you, buddy. All right, man. God bless y'all. God keep y'all. We'll see you next week. All right.
All right, everybody. Have a great one. See you.
All right. See you next
week.